Back yet again.
Yes, yes.
Oh man, so much to discuss, man. I'm your host, Jason Flake. My co-host Lance Reynolds, aka the People's Champ.
What up, though?
Want to start the show like we always do, man. Paying homage, showing love and respect to the Everybody Has One family, man, for supporting the social media pages, the YouTube channel, um, which is growing, almost 57,000 views. The subscribers are growing, and we just thank y'all so much, man, for consuming all of the content, for liking it. Make sure that you continue to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification, and when you hit that bell notification, make sure you hit all. And please join those social media sites as well, Facebook, Instagram. We're gonna be getting more involved in the Twitch page. I also set up a Twitter page. Those are all Everybody Has One podcast. The YouTube page is Everybody Has, of course, the number one sports podcast. And so we are eternally grateful for you guys continuing to show up, continuing to engage with us. Please continue to do so, continue to talk about it, continue to tell people, and continue to join us here live. It is very much so appreciated. Oh man, there's so much to discuss in the world of sports, man. Just breaking today,
Let's get to it.
I want to discuss the sale of the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, the guy, he got such a common name and I keep forgetting it. The guy's name is it Mark Walters? Yes, Mark Walter, no S.
Okay.
And TWG Global, that's the name of the company. I believe Magic Johnson is a part of that. He is currently the majority owner in the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Okay.
He will be purchasing the majority stake. The buses will be maintaining a minority stake
Okay.
in the company, and Jeannie Buss will be maintaining her position as what is known as the governor, the Los Angeles Lakers governor.
Okay.
So, but that was big breaking news. I didn't even know that they were
Yeah,
looking to
that's
sell. It's a $10 billion sale, obviously the largest in the history of professional sports. Which stands to reason. Lakers being in such a large market, Los Angeles,
yeah.
um, and obviously, just the times that we live in, and how valuable sports franchises are now with TV contracts and concessions, ticket prices, ticket sales. I was very shocked by that news, but I'll take your impressions of it.
Yeah, very shocked.
Yeah, I'm still digesting.
Yeah, I mean that's literally breaking news for me.
Yeah, right.
Um
Yeah, like for all of us, I think.
so yeah, I'm just looking over. So let's see, this Mark Walter guy. He okay, so yeah, the Dodgers.
Hmm.
And so was that so he gets the Sparks too?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he has the spark. Yeah,
Okay, so
he's
he's
got
got the
interest in a
Sparks.
couple of
Okay.
he's got an interest in a couple of different
Okay, so he's
franchises.
also primary owner of the auto racing
Yeah, Formula
organization,
One. Yeah, he got
Andretti
some Formula
Global.
One. Yep. Hmm.
Okay, which operates the Cadillac Formula One team. Okay,
Yeah.
and the professional women's hockey league. Okay,
Hmm.
okay, and he owns 12% of Blue Co, a holding company that owns that controls the Premier League,
Yeah.
Club Chelsea.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah. I
right,
think
now.
his individual net worth is
Okay,
like 65 billion or something
okay.
like that. I think that's what I read. I'm like you. I was trying to quickly skim through some articles and
Yeah, I'm
see
like,
what was up with the guy
okay.
and how he made his fortune, but yeah, he's obviously a wealthy gentleman if he can afford to be the majority owner in multiple professional sports franchises.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, as far as the Lakers go, I mean, yeah, ten billion. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, to
In
become the
terms of
majority stakeholder.
terms
Yeah.
of the franchise, it kind of looks like just from the very limited information that I have about
Right.
it, kind of sounds like a win-win for most people involved.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the Bus family, hell, they get $10 billion.
Yeah.
Jeannie keeps a kind of front-facing attachment,
Yeah.
to her father's baby,
Yeah.
Magic back in the fold.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, because
You
he's
know,
a part of that
yeah,
investment group with this guy.
I guess essentially, if you want to talk his professional sports career back home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, yeah, it sounds like it was a win for everyone. What it means basketball wise, again, haven't been able to devolve a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
I immediately kind of go to how Magic and Rob Pelinka kind of parted ways
Right.
more or less a few years back. What was that,
Yeah.
2020?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that'll be an interesting dynamic.
So like, how does that how does that factor into it? The Luka versus LeBron in terms of whose team it is
Right.
going forward. Who's going to be the guy that kind of delivers the tough news or the hard news and stuff like
Sure.
that. Is that Magic, or is that the new owner,
Right.
or is it a combination of both? So those are kind of like the first few questions
First impressions, right,
that kind
right.
of pop into my head just off hearing this news. So I mean, again, the Lakers, they kind of find a way to stay in the news.
Yeah. Yeah, they do always.
Even smack. I mean,
in the middle of the finals,
I was just
middle
going to
of
say,
trades
like,
happening.
they couldn't wait maybe another week to announce this and let the finals be over with. You know what I'm
No.
saying?
Mhm.
Maybe Adam Silver may have twisted their arm and announced this because the ratings of the finals haven't been,
What
I
they
guess,
wanted,
up
yeah.
to snuff.
But it's been a great competitive
Oh
final.
well,
but-
yeah. I mean, for basketball fans
Yeah.
that love watching the game, and then the purists, I mean, you can't really complain about what you've been seeing.
Right.
So yeah, man. I mean, whenever the Lakers are in good standing, I mean, in terms of just competitive, when they're just as competitive as they are in the headlines,
Yeah.
that's a good thing for the league.
Yep. I concur. Yeah, I really don't have a whole heck of a lot to add. Obviously we'll watch for developments and we'll bring that to the Everybody Has One family as they make themselves available. But it's interesting. As far as we know, not a lot is changing on the ground, so to speak, with the Lakers organization, management wise, from a player personnel standpoint. So we'll see. Magic, I believe, tweeted and gave this a ringing endorsement. Obviously, him becoming the majority owner, he says, this guy is very committed to winning. He's committed to excellence.
Yeah, well, I mean, and he'll definitely spend the cash.
Yeah,
I mean, over there with the Dodgers,
yeah, I was
boy,
gonna
they
say,
is out here throwing bags left, right, and center.
Yep, yeah, and of course, baseball is a little different. They don't have a salary cap, so
True.
I like that in baseball. As a Tigers fan, I'm always for it. I'm like, hey man, listen, open up that bag,
Right? Yeah, for sure.
throw it around, man. There's no salary cap. Bring in everybody and let's win.
Yeah, I wonder, like, will he be like one of those kind of Joe Lacob guys who's like not scared of the luxury tax?
Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Listen, man. I'm actually in favor of that attitude if you're going to win.
Right.
Not being afraid of the luxury tax. If you like the 76ers is crazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if you Golden State Warriors
right, when
and you're gonna win 4 championships, hey man, listen, that's what the luxury tax is for, is to keep your guys together.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're winning.
I mean, even I think
second apron stuff.
I think it's been proven successful if you squeeze one out of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you know, get a chip.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're gonna win, it makes perfect sense. If you're gonna be spinning your wheels, if you're gonna be the Clippers, you know what I'm saying, then it's crazy work. But I digress. Because I do want to move on to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
It's been a classic thus far. Of course, I'm hoping for a game 7. Game 6 will be tomorrow night. I think we've seen a competitive finals thus far. It's been basically what I expected. You know what I'm saying? I expect OKC to win a 6 or 7 game series, but I did expect Indiana to be competitive. They have been. I expected Tyrese Halliburton to be up and down. He has been. We
Man.
kind of talked about that on the last show.
Yeah.
He's delivered in that respect, not in other respects, but he's definitely delivered in being up and down, and that's kind of what he's been.
Yeah.
But I'll take your impressions of what you've seen so far, and I'll ask one question, man: is it over tomorrow night, or do we see a Game 7 Sunday?
Ooh. At this point,
What say the people's champ?
I really hope we get a Game 7.
Me too. What's your gut telling you, though?
My gut is telling me, well, it's not even really what my gut's telling me.
Right.
It's what Tyrese
Halliburton's calf. Yeah.
You know, and that tells me, cue the plus size woman up in the back, maybe get her on the flight.
For context, I should say that Rick Carlisle did come out today and say that the Indiana Pacers are preparing to play Game 6 without Tyrese Halliburton, though he is a game time decision officially.
And to the Pacers' credit and Rick Carlisle's credit, they have proven they can play and perform, without Halliburton.
Sure.
But however,
yeah,
this is for all the chips.
Mm-hmm. No pun intended.
Right. And it looks like that the Thunder may smell blood.
Oh yeah.
And it's unfortunate if it plays out that way.
Yeah.
But again, with these championships, attrition's part of it.
Yeah. It is. Injuries are part of the game.
I mean, I, as a young kid, seen go both ways.
Yep, most definitely.
All the way back to 88 and 89.
Yep.
And you can kind of go on and on and on. You can pick, you can go to 2016 with the Warriors, with how Cleveland ended up losing Kyrie and Kevin Love. You can go to the Warriors and how it came back and bit them in 2019, where they lost KD to a similar injury, which is what I immediately think about.
Right, yeah.
Whenever you're talking about debilitating calf injuries, it's like you got to be careful with this, man.
Yep.
Because, I mean, here's the thing, and who the hell am I to tell Tyrese Halliburton how to approach the NBA Finals?
Sure.
But to just a random Joe NBA fan doing a little podcast,
right?
You ain't got nothing to prove to this dude right here,
right?
In terms of Tyrese Halliburton, I've seen enough.
Mm-hmm.
Is there room for improvement? Yeah, but pick a player who's been watching Tyrese Halliburton these last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying.
Of
so
course.
I don't want it to come down to that for him, where he feels that he's letting anybody down if he goes out and play and then suffers a more
dire
severe injury. That would just be terrible.
Yep.
So I don't want to see that.
Sure.
So that part of me has me like, if they're going into it tomorrow, I mean, that stadium in OKC is going to be on 10.
Yep. No, they in Indiana.
I mean, I'm sorry, they're in Indiana. Indiana's going to be on 10.
Yeah.
So with that said, Indiana being at home without Halliburton and them showing that they've gone stints throughout the season without Halliburton and had success. Again, I think that those first 6-7 minutes would be crucial.
Yeah,
because again, Indiana plays that style that kind of lulls you, where it's like, okay, you just hit a couple threes, we taking the ball out, we still running the other way.
Yeah, and they're never out of even when you got them down by 12 or 13, that they even in game 5, they got within 2 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
they just
they're like
don't
Jason
go.
Voorhees, bro.
They just don't. Yeah, like you feel like you sprinting all out and they just walking, and you turn around and they're right there.
Yeah.
They just don't go away. They are incredibly resilient that way. It's really, I don't know that I've ever seen anything like it before.
I haven't.
Yeah, I don't know that they're unique in that way, where a few of these games, they've seemed like OKC is just in total control, but bam, Indiana is just right there. Like they've had a chance to win every game.
Yeah.
Like they've had a chance to take control of every game. But yeah, I agree with what you said about Tyrese Halliburton. You would not want to see him suffer a more severe injury. I will give the flip side of the coin though.
We have to do that.
If you can play, because in 2012, Kevin Durant was 23, Russell Westbrook was 23, James Harden was 23. I'm sure that they thought we'll be back.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard to get to the NBA Finals. It's even harder to win, particularly in this day and age where it seems to be less. There are less repeat champions. There are fewer dynasties. There's no three-peats, seemingly. The three-peat has gone the way of the dodo bird. We don't even see those anymore.
Right.
So if you can play. If you can do so safely, right? If you can do so without causing yourself, there's always risk anytime you're playing, but if you can do so with a reasonable amount of risk where, you're not risking yourself for any extended period of time, then do so. But if it looks like there could be, like Lance was saying, something that's lingering under the surface that could be a more long-term injury, then I would stay away from it. I would say, okay, let's see if we can push this thing to a game 7 and then get me reevaluated after that. But because, like you said, they are capable. They're capable of getting a win without
for sure.
him. Even, okay, it's gonna be tough against OKC because OKC, like you said, they smell blood. They're gonna want to get this thing over with tomorrow night. I don't think they want to fool around with Indiana for a one-game elimination because, again, Indiana is one of those teams, they just don't go away.
Yeah.
They stick and they stay. And
I'm a believer, bro. Don't play around with
they get in your hip pocket.
Put them down.
Man.
Yeah.
They get in your hip pocket and they just will not leave. They don't go away. So if you can play and you can do so safely, do so. If not, then trust your teammates, be on the bench, screaming, rooting them on,
right,
clapping it up.
Now, quick question. To your point. Yeah. Now, when you say if he can play, do you consider his performance last game playing? Like, if that's the best he can do, would you prefer that, or would you just prefer him to sit out if that's his ceiling in terms of productivity?
So I'm not going to put all of his, that's a great question, and I'm not going to put all of his productivity last game on him being injured.
Okay.
I do think some of that was lack of aggressiveness because he's looked like that for long stretches before the injury.
That's true, but they did say that was an injury that he tweaked in game 2.
Yeah, I can dig it. He's looked like that
in the prior series.
Period. Yeah. Tyrese Halliburton, I think I read something. Tyrese Halliburton has had a single-digit game in every playoff series that he's played in his career.
That's fair. Because, for a lot of the unfair comments that he gets, he does provide some nuggets here and there.
And we talked about that last time. This is not something that I ain't coming out of the woodwork saying this just because he had a bad game.
Right.
I said this about him. I said the reason, and I'll repeat, I said the reason why I picked OKC over Indiana is because they have the more consistent star.
For sure.
SGA is bringing 30. He's bringing 30 with him when he steps on the floor. I don't know what Tyrese is bringing. That's why I'm going with OKC. The more consistent star is, to me, the one that you can depend on when there's a limited number of games.
For sure.
And I like Tyrese Halliburton. I'm still bitter that the Pistons decided to get to torture us with Killian Hayes.
Troy the Dream Weaver.
Instead of just drafting Tyrese Halliburton, who was obviously the better option.
Or Maxey.
Man,
Never
yeah,
mind. All right, I'm sorry. I
Maxie,
didn't. All right,
Desmond
listen.
Baines. I
Yeah,
mean, man,
let's,
don't get me
yeah,
going.
I
Cole
know.
Anthony, even, man.
Yeah,
I mean, Obi Toppin, man. There were so many better options that were actual NBA players. Killian Hayes is playing God knows where right now, man. Nicaragua or something, man. Who knows where this dude is playing? He didn't even make the French national team.
yeah, that's bad. But
I mean, yeah, man. I'm sorry. I
trust
went
me.
on a
I
rabbit
listen.
trail, man.
Listen,
But
I
anyway,
fight it often.
so I like the point is I like Tyrese Halliburton.
Right,
I do. That's my guy. But SGA is a very high quality player. That's a high bar. But he's their star, and Tyrese is the Pacers star.
Yeah.
And
SGA
again,
is blasting through high quality, man.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
he is like,
so
man.
to give it some context, if SGA wins the championship in the finals MVP, he will have won the scoring title, the championship, the league MVP, and the finals MVP. I think like Michael Jordan and Steph Curry have done that.
Yep.
And then SGA. That's the company that so that's elite. It's not, I'm not comparing him to just anybody. That's the kind of elite company that SGA is going to be in. Yeah. So that is what you are up against. And you can't be up and down when you're doing that. That's why I said in order for the Pacers to win, Tyrese Halliburton is going to have to be un-Tyrese Halliburton like in that regard. Yep. He going to have to bring 25 a game. And that's not in his nature. His nature is not to just go out there and give you 25 a game. He's going to have to defy his nature in order to do it. SGA bringing 30. Yeah. And one of the reasons, and then we'll transition because I don't want to stay on this too long because, man, it was so much that happened this past week. But one of the reasons is what we talk about with another one is Jason Tatum. Tyrese, while I like all of the things that he brings in his offensive bag, he's got to pick that thing that he does. And it's got to be his thing. Because like SGA is the mid-range. Yep. SGA is playing for the mid-range. When SGA is not having the game that he wants to have, he hunts the mid-range. Wow. I'm not sure what Tyrese's thing is. I'm not sure if he bulls his way like LeBron. We know LeBron is going to bull his way to the basket. If LeBron is having an off night, his go-to is going to be, okay, I need to start getting to the basket. Kevin Durant is a deadly mid-range player. If Kevin Durant, same as SGA, if he's having a bad night, he's going to start hunting the mid-range. He's going to be working his way into that 15 to 17-foot area for pull-ups. Steph Curry, he's going to be running pin downs for deep three-pointers if he's having a bad night. Those guys have go-to things that they go to when they not having the night that they want to have. Yep. I want to see Tyrese, like you said, because he's got that room for development. He needs to develop that thing. Yeah. I go to the mid-range. I go to the deep three. I go to the step back. I go, whatever his thing is going to be. I go to that when I'm struggling because that's what's missing from his game. And that's what SGA has. You can see SGA start going there because he was struggling, I felt like, in game 4. He had, I think, 20 points going into the fourth quarter, but they were sporadic. They were substituting him sporadically, and then he exploded.
Fourth quarter was like, hey, bro, dig this here.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm going to my mid-range bag, and it's the best mid-range bag in the game right now.
And not to mention, the brother's got a nice little sidekick with him, too.
Oh, yeah. No, listen, Jalen Williams is developing into a monster. And what is he, 24, 23, 24 years old?
20, I think he just turned 24.
Yeah, he's a kid, man. He's young, man. But, yeah, so we're going to be keeping our eye on that. Hopefully we get that game 7 that we looking for, man. And, of course, we'll wrap that up.
Yeah, we're rooting for more basketball over here.
On the next Everybody Has One podcast next Wednesday at 8 o'clock or as close as we can get. We had a big blockbuster trade that took place this past week, man. And I want to know what you think about it. And then the Pistons, I thought we talked about that Kevin Durant trade proposal. I want to get your thoughts on that. But Desmond Bain went he went from Memphis to Orlando for, I think it was KCP and was it 4 picks?
It was it KCP, Cole,
Cole Anthony. Yep, that's right. I
and
forgot about Cole.
four
Was
four
it four
first first
four
round.
first round picks? Man, yeah, they giving up a lot of first round picks, man. But first of all, give me how do you like that trade? Did you like the trade? Who won? Who won the trade in your opinion?
Ooh, when I first heard it, honestly, I was just like, huh, because it just sounded like so random.
Yeah.
You know, just like, and then when you kind of look at it, it's like, okay, so Orlando is looking to kind of make a push
Yeah.
because I mean Desmond Bane's a player.
Yeah,
Like
I'm a
Desmond,
Desmond Baines guy.
like
I
Des,
like Desmond Baines.
Desmond Bane's a player
Yeah,
now.
he
Like
can
let's
ball.
let's not get it twisted. DMV in the building.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, a lot of those games were in the past couple of years.
yeah,
Where Ja Morant was out,
yeah.
Desmond Bane
he
was
been
the
that guy.
consistent, steady hand
Yep.
that that kept that team afloat. I mean, some of it was Jaren Jackson Jr. as well,
Yeah.
but Desmond Bane, I think to me, he showed me that he was able to do some things that I didn't necessarily think that he could do.
Yeah.
In terms of just like facilitating,
Mhm.
defending.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think for Orlando, this kind of puts them closer to being um, I would say not quite a contender,
Right.
but very close. And I think is their contender status, as it should, rest on the development of Paulo
Banchero.
Banchero
Yeah.
and Franz Wagner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, with Memphis, it looks like to me they're kind of like retooling.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got a kid, Jalen Allen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I like him.
Hey man, I don't know if they're feeling like, hey, if we give this kid more minutes,
Mm-hmm. I like GG Jackson too.
For sure.
Yeah, I like GG Jackson.
I mean,
too.
Memphis they've hit
Mm-hmm.
on some draft picks. So I don't know if they're. It looks to me that they're retooling more so than rebuilding.
Yeah.
The new coach has a more kind of Euro style in terms of offense.
Yeah.
In terms of the philosophy. So we'll see how that looks. I don't know if they're necessarily done moving guys.
Okay.
There've been rumblings that I guess
Yeah.
Jaren Jackson
Yep.
Jr. is
Yeah.
available
I've heard that.
and on the market. So are they ready to kind of just put all of their trust in terms of their interior offense and defense into Zach Edey?
Yeah.
So it's a lot going on. I think both teams, it's kind of a wait and see type of deal because with on Orlando's side with Paulo and Franz last year, they both sustained some pretty significant injuries that cost them some significant time.
Yeah.
And with young players, you kind of keep your fingers crossed and just like maybe this is a hiccup, their body just kind of getting used to the wear and tear of an NBA season.
Yeah.
Or is this, a pattern going forward? So, if they can stay healthy, I mean, Desmond Bane, Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, they get a healthy Mo Wagner back, Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough squad.
Yeah.
That's a tough squad.
Yeah.
And Memphis, again, when we're talking about health, I mean, it's kind of been the story with Ja Morant since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's becoming more of a story with him, his availability.
Exactly. So, what does that look like with Allen, with GG Jackson, and do they keep Jaren?
Yeah. Scottie Pippen Jr., I think is he over there.
Another guy that kind of broke out last year.
Yeah, he did. I thought he played very well down the stretch.
Yeah, he's a player.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a player.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, how did that look? So I think with both teams, it's kind of a wait and see. I think to a point you made earlier, any GM not named Nico Harrison You know, after the Mikal Bridges trade, you know,
Mhm.
they just kind of not going for the silliness when it's come to giving up one of our key guys.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to give us some unprotected
Yeah,
picks.
yeah,
You know,
it's a lot
so
of draft picks being just tossed around
right.
willy
But I
nilly,
guess
man.
Orlando just kind of sees it to like by the time we get to those years,
Yeah,
those picks
we,
will be, you know, picking later in
yeah.
the rounds anyway.
I
So,
mean, yeah, and I think I just wanted to piggyback on something
oh,
you
there, go
said
ahead.
about injuries
Mhm.
because the biggest injury problem that they've had over the past couple of years has been Suggs, Jalen Suggs. You know, because he's clearly their best backcourt player, and I think that them acquiring Baines is sort of them hedging against him.
Yeah, because they just gave him a big bag.
Correct,
Yeah.
getting hurt a
Good
lot.
point. Good point.
Because if I envision a backcourt with Suggs and Baines, a very good two-way player in Suggs,
Great defender.
and then an excellent three-level scorer in Baines. Baines is a 41% three-point shooter for his career,
Yeah.
which is, you know, like Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson type
Yeah.
percentages. So he's one of the best three-point shooters in the game.
And he doesn't miss games.
No, he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. He's available and he's an rated three-level scorer. You know what I'm saying? Like the
I
guy
agree.
can be around 20 points per game and then he can hit three-pointers efficiently. See, now you into something when you got Franz.
Oh, he's
and
lit our
Paolo.
Pistons up.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I like Desmond. Like, I'm a Baines guy. I'm like, no, man, Baines is a monster, man. Like, and he's sneaky good off the dribble. He doesn't really need to be set up because, like you mentioned, you touched on it. Ja has been out a lot over the past couple of years. So it's not like, you know, he just playing off the ball and he's waiting to be set up for these threes.
Right.
He's dribbling into a lot of these threes and creating for himself. So no, I mean, you know, when I heard that, I'm like, man, I like that for Orlando because you feel like they've been a backcourt piece away, you know, particularly with Suggs being in and out a lot. Like when he's in there, they can look really explosive, but he's hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So if he can get healthy, maintain that health, and you can see a whole Orlando team, nobody's going to want to see them in the playoffs. Obviously, I think that the Pacers will still be the class of the conference if they remain healthy and whole. And, you know, obviously, I think Bridges is due for a re-signing. I believe they will re-sign him and keep their team together. So I think that under those circumstances, they bring Miles Bridges back. I think they'll be the class of the conference. I'd like to see our Pistons make an upgrade. You know, we've discussed that. We've discussed the guys that are out there. We'll transition into that conversation in a minute. Because I don't necessarily know that KD is the answer,
Right.
but you know they've thrown that around. His name has been bandied about with just about every team in the NBA at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll throw out the proposed Pistons trade in just a little bit, but just finishing up on the Desmond Baines thing, I like it, and you know there's rumblings that Orlando is still looking to make some additional moves.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, because they were in they're supposedly in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, but everybody, I mean, like he's literally been attached to like
I mean
every team.
He is the mercenary of pro basketball. Now,
he is. Yeah, he's the hired gun right now.
That is who he is. But to your point though, and I guess it kind of played out this year as well. But even going more so into this offseason and next season, the Eastern Conference, man.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Like I don't know if there's like a clear.
No, man, it's gonna be very competitive.
Because you look at Indiana, I mean, you would guess, you know, just by default, they would be the prohibitive favorite.
Sure, yeah,
just
they'll be the class
next
of the
year.
conference.
You know what I mean? But I mean, they were what, a 4 seed?
Yeah.
You know, so
Carl Anthony Towns got a new tattoo, so he said he, you know, so
is that really?
No, I don't know, man.
But but the
a better
Knicks,
man is coming.
like the
you
Knicks,
know, no, but in
the
all
Knicks,
seriousness,
how,
the Knicks will be good.
But I mean, how would they look though in terms of like who would they coach be?
Correct, yeah.
Like how does
That's a
coaching
question
affect
mark.
their culture?
How do they fill out the depth?
Yeah.
Now that they've talked about, okay, we want some more depth. We want to use the depth.
Cleveland, I've heard rumblings that Darius Garland's on the market. I've heard rumblings that Jared Allen's on the market. Um, of course, Milwaukee, all the Giannis talk and all of that.
And we're gonna touch on that too. I put that in the
I mean,
group
so the East, Miami's always making moves.
Yep.
You know, they're always in whatever sweepstake for, name that player. Philly is Joel Embiid alive? Like what's going on there?
What do they do? Well,
yeah, I mean, like, what do they do? What do they do with the wretched contract of Paul George?
Right.
I mean, so the East, and then our Pistons.
He's been bandied about to be traded to Phoenix for Kevin Durant.
The Pistons,
I heard like 9 trade scenarios. All I've been listening to is Kevin Durant trade scenario.
It's like,
I'm not gonna bore you with every.
It's becoming like the new 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Exactly right. It is, man. It's and Kevin, man. I've heard no fewer than a dozen Kevin Durant trade scenarios, bro. But you know what? Let me toss out the one for the Pistons, man.
Okay.
And let me get your impressions of it. Because most of the time when I hear Pistons trade scenarios, I'm immediately like, no.
Right.
But Tobias Harris, Isaiah Stewart, and shout out to my man Damian Jones, man. Y'all listen to the Monday Blues, man, over on every media. Simone Self-Checkio, that's what he dubbed him. And 2 unprotected picks for Kevin Durant, man. Give me your impressions of that, man. I didn't hate it, but
wait a minute now, is that really doable?
I mean, yeah, that was the proposed trade to Phoenix, and the Ishbia Goris connection because they both went to Michigan State. They kind of know each other.
And I think maybe Goris' brother was part of the UWM investment group that went public type of deal.
Yep.
So okay, but I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong or if I got the number, the particulars screwed up. Doesn't KD want the 2-year 105 or 103 extension or whatever once he is traded? I think he wants the 2-year 100. And I don't know how that does.
I don't know what
with
the
our
money
cap.
is. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I couldn't say with the money, but I think with those 3, that might work because we gave Tobias a pretty good deal. Yeah. Without looking, I know that we had just given Beef Stew a new deal and Tobias a new deal. I think that's why we sending both of them. Fontecchio's money, I don't think is significant.
Who gives a hell? Now, and I like Simone at times. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys, when you're a championship team, he's one of those guys you can have.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But as we're building towards that, nah, bro. But okay. So
because remember we gave Tobias a bag.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we gave him we treated him like a real free agent.
Now the 2 unprotected picks.
Yeah.
What year is that?
You know what? Let me pull up the mock trade, man.
Because the only reason why the 2 unprotected picks has me not necessarily I don't know, because I mean if you naming those 3 players for Kevin Durant, I'm like, man, yes.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. But it's that one I didn't hate.
My only thing with Kevin Durant is he'll be 37 in September. And Kevin Durant has had a history of sustaining, just cataclysmic injuries.
Yes.
To his credit, he's bounced back from all of those injuries and has come back and performed better.
Yep.
But he's had the metatarsal, knee, Achilles.
So I got Tobias Harris, Isaiah Stewart, 2 unprotected first rounds. They not really saying what year. Let me see.
Just off in the yonder?
Right.
Do it.
Yeah, I was going to say. Maybe not.
Yeah, 2 off in the yonder unprotected first round picks that Troy Weaver was holding in his back pocket some years ago for.
Right, yeah, because I was just about to say, I think that we might have a couple of picks.
Do it.
From some other trades that we made, but I'm trying to get the particulars without slowing down the show. But
no, I get it. Now, while you do that, let me ask you this. Of course, Kevin Durant helps.
Of course.
Any team.
Of course.
But does he address what we need to compete for a title?
You know what? I think now this is me. Now, a couple of people were poo-pooing this. I think, he gets us out of the East
So you think Kevin Durant on the Pistons team as
as
constructed
constructed.
gets us to the NBA Finals?
Yep. Because, and here's why. Because Cade Cunningham is Cade Cunningham.
Right, right.
He's going to take with Kevin Durant on the team. He takes a massive step forward because now all of a sudden defenses cannot load up on him
For sure.
the way that they load up on him now. I see the thing about when you acquire a guy like a Kevin Durant, and I know a lot of people like to kind of thumb their nose at that, but they don't take into account what that does for your other guys.
Man, probably the most destructive, devastating offensive weapon
This is what I'm
probably
saying.
seen
I'm like, Cade,
ever.
right now, when you game plan for the Pistons, you game plan to take Cade Cunningham away.
Mhm.
It's like Cade Cunningham is one, and then the next offensive option is like 7. It's like way up here, and then our next best offensive option
Is Beasley maybe?
yeah, and he off the bench.
Right, right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like in the starting lineup, who
And
is
we
it?
love you, Beasley, but
Yeah,
we're
who
making a
is it?
point here.
Tobias Harris.
Right. For sure.
He up and down. You know, like what's this? His 4th team, 15. You know, Tim Hardaway Jr. He's a journeyman.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey is emerging. I think Jaden Ivey, I hold out lots of hope that he could be something great.
Right.
But he ain't scaring nobody on the scouting report. Let's be real. You know, the only one that put fear in somebody's heart right now is Cade Cunningham.
For sure.
Other teams are loading up on him, and he 26, 9, and 6. Still, even with everybody loading up on him, you don't have a number 2.
Right.
Kevin Durant gives you a solid number 2, and now teams cannot load up on your guy he's already giving you all NBA performance. Now he got a solid number 2, and then those other guys can start to emerge. You know, you still can get an emergence from Jaden Ivey. There's nothing saying that he won't emerge. As a matter of fact, he probably will.
Right.
Jalen Duren probably takes a step forward. See, I think that you can get. There's no reason why we don't turn into the Indiana Pacers.
Right. No, I mean,
with the addition
I
of a
just
Kevin
kind of
Durant.
wanted to hear you break it down
Yeah.
because when people say Kevin Durant to the Pistons, it just kind of stops there.
Yeah.
You know, no one kind of really
Correct.
puts their 10 toes down on an expectation.
Yeah. There's no reason we don't turn into the Indiana Pacers overnight.
I mean, I don't think it's far-fetched at all. To me, I still would like for them to address some front court depth
Sure.
defensively. That's it. Now, I mean, Kevin Durant with Cade, Beasley, Ivy,
Jalen Duren,
that's Asar Thompson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that length and athletic, that's a lot of length, a lot of athleticism.
And
you can run.
And Durant doesn't get a lot of credit that he deserves, I think,
defensively. Yeah.
I think Kevin Durant helps side defensively.
Yeah.
Is a lot better than advertised or is spoken about.
And Jalen Duren took a big step this year with his help.
We talked about it. The second half of the season, because no Diddy, we rode the young man pretty hard the first couple of months of the season.
He concerned me greatly.
Yeah.
Watching him early in the year, I was concerned about Bickerstaff. I was concerned about everybody involved with the operation.
But that young man,
but he turned it around
when he decided to be a presence on defense. Yep. Like there's a difference of kind of just getting the numbers.
Yeah.
But when he decided to be a presence, and what I mean by presence is like when people are around you, they like cats start hitting the ground.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, like
physicality,
like what you was thinking about when you turn that corner on your defender changes.
Yeah, indeed,
because he's there. And once he started to do that, the team really started to take off around like late January, around that point. So yeah, I think if he just continues on that trend,
Yep.
and like I said, if Asar Thompson, like you said, I'm sorry, can just get NBA level
Shooting.
shooting.
Yeah, watch
defense-
out.
And to your point with a KD, I think KD kind of extends the timetable with that, or
Mhm.
in terms of what we as fans expect, but I think it may expedite the results we want.
Yes.
Because I mean, working with Kevin Durant every
Every
day
day,
after
yeah.
practice, doing individual
Yeah,
shooting,
watching that guy.
I mean, you got to pick up on
If he can
him.
turn into a poor man's Kevin Durant on offense.
And they're familiar because him and his brother from the Oakland Bay area.
Yeah, no doubt.
And when Durant was out there,
Yeah, with Golden State.
they've crossed paths, I'm sure. So man, that's something to think about.
Yeah, no, man. I listen, I'm, and
You might that grease might be heating up over there.
Hey, man,
you
listen.
got going on over there.
I like it. I don't know. There's a lot of people in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. So, like, bringing it back to reality, I don't know.
As they should be.
Yeah.
He's an all-timer.
He is. He absolutely is. And so I don't know that he lands with the Pistons, but I'm certainly amenable to it. And for the package that I named, I don't want others in the package though. Like that package can get unattractive real fast.
Yeah. Like
if you start trying, that package that I just named.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that package. And like you said, some future first round picks, some or some ones that we acquired in other trades. I'm good with those. I don't want to be bothered with I don't want to give up Jaden Ivey. I don't want to give up Jalen Duren. That's when I start to veto those types of trades. I don't want to be bothered with that. But for those three names that I gave.
So who are your untouchables on the Pistons?
I mean, Obviously Cade Cunningham. That kind of go without saying.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying. But I don't want. I would prefer not to give up Jaden Ivey. I mean, Cade Cunningham and Duren for sure, and then Jaden Ivey is like right on that next tier. And then I really don't want to give up Asar Thompson either.
I just can't let Asar Thompson go unless you're giving me like somebody prolific.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, like prolific.
Those four right there. Everybody else.
I just think him and his brother are going to like swap years on who's going to be on first, second team all defense.
I agree. I concur. So yeah, those four right there. Really, I'm not really interested in discussing. Everybody else, you could call me about.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else, you can call me about.
With you there. Yep.
Man, let's switch gear, man. It's a lot of NBA, man.
It's heating up.
It is, man. You know what? Let's go to let's hit some WNBA, man.
Okay, all right. They getting scrappy out there.
They
I tell you that.
Angel Reese, second youngest player to record a triple-double. Shout out to her, man. Caitlin Clark, first game back, hit 7 threes. I saw that big game she had, man. She was cooking, man. How many she ended up? She had 32 when I turned the game.
I think she ended with like 35.
Yeah, man. She had a great game, man. Shout out to her. I know she was out for a few games with some injuries.
Quad strain.
Yeah. And then I saw she was in a dust-up
last night.
Yeah.
A couple people, Connecticut Sun.
A couple people got ejected.
Yeah.
I didn't really see everything that went on. I think that I was reading a little bit about it today, and I think two people from the Suns got ejected.
Yep, and then I believe Sophie Cunningham got ejected.
Okay, for the fever, yeah, and I think that. Somebody was saying, I was reading the quote, and they were like, we don't know why the people from the Sun got ejected because they were just retaliating. But again, I wish I would have watched the entire sequence now, but I don't know about the entire sequence, but it was, it looked like, and then I saw that Stephen A was criticizing her and saying, like she's sort of the source of her own critics because maybe she initiated. Did she forearm shiver somebody? I couldn't tell. It was a whole lot going on. You know what? I just like that the WNBA is in the mix and people are talking about it.
Listen,
people are leading with it. I love it.
Hey,
man.
You missed the WNBA game. You're not alone.
Right.
I mean, let's just be real about it. I mean, that said, whenever Caitlin Clark's involved,
Yeah.
it's always going to be amplified.
Yeah.
And
But that's good though. I'm telling you, that's
I
good.
mean, I'm not
always
mad at
like,
it. I mean,
that's
it's
fly.
kind of obvious. I mean, the ratings were like down 53%, like the weeks that she was
Of
out.
course, yeah.
So
I mean,
it's
listen,
like,
she
I
must
mean,
see TV.
it kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
I think with both of those players, when you're talking like Reese and Clark, I mean, they're needle movers.
Yeah, they
I mean,
lightning rods.
they just, you know, they move the needle. I think Caitlin Clark, with her, I believe a lot of it just kind of comes from the fact that it's like all the lights are kind of just like on her. And I guess maybe to the other players, it kind of feels like an all of a sudden kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of get that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it happens in men's sports too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you like a rookie or a young player and you're like setting records in terms of dollars,
yeah,
that's going to lead to resentment. I don't care if it's pro sports. I don't care if it's in sales.
Sure.
You know,
yeah, right. Like in business,
like
period.
you know, would the breadwinner and the top dog is always going to, you know, draw some ire from their competitors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's good for the sport. And the thing about it is women are feisty.
Yeah.
Like when you talking like sports, like if you watch like most women's sports, like even going back to the young girl with the track and field high school with the baton. I mean, we're not advocating, you know, assaulting people with a baton, but like women in athletics, you know, you get that.
Yeah.
Like you get that. And I'm here for it. So, I mean, as long as it's, you know, like it seems like the refs kind of like quenched it before it got out of control.
Right.
You never want, you know, we don't want chicks windmilling, you know, in the middle of the court. We don't want that. Or ladies windmilling.
Yeah, but we love we the passion though.
But you know, the fired, I'm here for it.
But you know what? Let me, you know, this reminded me of something. We didn't put it on the agenda, but I'll ask you. Angel Reese got the BET Sportswoman of the Year award. And Clarissa Shields had she put something on social media. Basically, she congratulated her. It was a little backhanded. She, you know, she basically said, "I thought the accolades meant something." Basically saying she thought she should have won the award over Angel Reese. I defended Angel Reese. I believe as a rookie in the WNBA, Angel Reese set 6 records. 3 straight 20-plus rebound games. She had the most consecutive double-doubles of any woman in WNBA history with 15. She fastest woman to 250 points, 250 rebounds. Oh man, I'm gonna fall short of giving you all 6 of them, but she set 6, which is pretty unprecedented. And don't get me wrong, Clarissa had a great year as well. But I'm like, if it was the sports woman of the year, I felt like BET they got it right. I'm like, if you're talking about career accomplishments, obviously that's Clarissa, because I think she's been like a champion in like multiple different weight classes. But I'm like, 6 different records as a rookie. I'm like, that's pretty unprecedented in the WNBA. I'm like, I think they were within their bounds to give it to her. I'm like, and that's not to not. I'm like, because Clarissa's obviously a fantastic women's athlete. I'm like, you know, nobody and nobody would have
fighting the Little Caesars Arena next month.
Absolutely, and I said, and nobody would have raised a fuss if she got it.
Right? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think anybody would have been like, what?
Angel Reese probably would have.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe. I'm like, but she did congratulate her in the tweet. It was a little backhanded,
of course. But that's to that competitive cattiness that we're talking about.
That's why I brought it. That's what reminded me of it
for sure.
But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. What do you think about it?
Well, my thoughts, truthfully and honestly, okay, if it's between just those two, I would probably have to do a deeper look into their accolades of 2024.
Right.
Now, off the rip, now, you know, that fight that Clarissa had before the I want to say it may have been, what was that last?
July, I think. Yeah, I think she fought in July.
Yeah, I mean, and outside of that,
Right.
I don't know
I
what
don't know
she
what she
did.
did in 24. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, I think
And she
really,
could have done more.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
Right.
not.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's
And
what I
then
said.
and then I believe she had the fight in
February.
Flint, right?
Right. But
Right.
that wasn't
Okay.
this year. That was in February.
Right. So, and then like you say with Reese, with the every record that Clark didn't do, she got in terms
Mhm.
of like interior play.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, me personally, I mean, if we're talking 2024, you go with the GOAT Simone Biles.
Well, yeah. I mean,
If you're talking athlete of the year, if we're
yeah,
talking
that's what I
female
said.
athlete of the year, but between
Listen,
those two,
I think there
then
was 9 people up for it, right?
mhm,
I think Coco Golf was in there.
she'll probably
I'm
win it next year.
I'm like, all of those women were deserved. Nobody would have batted an eye
Right,
if any one of them
right,
would have won. I'm like, but to act as if Angel Reese was not, I'm like,
right. To
Angel,
say that Angel Reese is
yeah,
undeserving,
it's right. I'm
yeah,
like,
now
that's
yeah,
wild. I'm like, no, she was deserving. I'm like, now, if any of the other women would have got it, nobody would have been like Simone Biles.
yeah,
No,
right, yeah.
no.
I just think,
Simone Biles is a monster. Like you could give her the sportswoman of the year any year, and nobody's gonna bat an eye because of how much she accomplishes at all times, every year, all the time. You know, any competition that she goes to, she's obviously going to blow out the field by miles because she's the best women's gymnast to ever live.
right, for sure. And I think at the end of the day, what it boils down to is the dollars.
Yeah.
I think Clarissa is looking for the heavy bag. You know what I mean? I think she feels like, she's been the best of the best for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to be compensated and
Sure.
recognized for it. And I mean, I don't begrudge her for that. You know what I
No.
mean? Everybody wants to, be appreciated for their work.
Absolutely.
So
And people duck her in her sport.
Yeah,
by
exactly.
the way, that's another thing.
And
like the best fighters,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they don't want to get knocked out.
I understand. So I get that, but I just don't want her to fall into the trap of her going out and getting her props
Right.
at the expense of other women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she could have just been stating her mind, but she's got to know by her stating her mind, it's other agenda driven. Do we call them journalists? You know what I mean? Or reporters or commentators,
yeah.
entities,
Yeah.
that will pounce on that and take, what she said as, another opportunity to pounce on Angel Reese, who seems to just kind of dance in the middle of extremisms when it comes to opinions about her.
Yeah.
It's either you really hate her or you like really love her. You
Yep.
can't just have a consistent, moderate take on who she is as a player or athlete. It's like you either got to hate her or love her. Just like, no, I mean, I think she's a good player that can improve.
Yeah.
And I think
she needs to.
And I think if she does improve, I think she'll be the player that a lot of her fans think she is now.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad thing that she has fans that are crazy about her.
Of course not.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's great for the WNBA. And I think the same about Caitlin Clark.
Right.
Even though some of her fans are racist weirdos, and I'll say that right out front.
Because there are a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of racist weirdos and Angel, and they attack Angel Reese and say a lot of bizarre things about her. But I do like, aside from take out the fact that people are being bigoted, the fact that there is passion is the important thing. Passion for WNBA basketball, passion for specific players. This is the first time in my life, and probably in the life of the league, that there's been this much passion about individual players.
Yeah.
And the fact that, A'ja Wilson is probably the best women's player in the world. It ain't really no probably about it. She definitely is. And her fan base is likely not as passionate as the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark fan bases. while that's kind of sad, it's also very telling that,
Right.
you know, it's bigger than basketball. And that's really what grows a sport,
Yes.
is that it becomes bigger than the sport. It becomes more. I mean, listen, I'm online all the time, man, just because I'm a sports fan arguing with LeBron James's sycophants. And trust me, there's sycophants in every fan base, by the way.
Yeah, it is. 'Cause
Michael
they're
Jordan's
Jordan
got some.
sycophants, they're
Yep. Kobe
Kobe
Bryant. Yep.
sycophants,
I was
they
just
are.
about to say
They
that.
sure
There's
are.
sycophants in every fan base. You know, there's weirdos, there's people who worship these people. But that's kind of what grows the sport.
It is.
That's why the sports become these global conglomerates, and they got and they got McDonald's and all of these huge Fortune 500 you know, tentacles, and all of these people that advertise with them, because it becomes bigger than the sport. So you know, I like that for women's sports.
It's definitely a good thing.
And we'll close on this, man. Shador Sanders, he got cited for speeding, going 101 miles an hour. That's really nothing. People get cited for speeding every day. That's not that big a deal. I know that, you know, it's a
So
big,
101, so they didn't reduce it?
I mean, that
Or
probably
was
not.
the final number 101?
Probably not.
Oh.
That was, I mean, that's
Shador, I'm sure your father's told you everything you need to know. So,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
do better.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be, come on, man. You know, they out here looking to jam you up at every turn. So,
I mean, not only that, man, ask Jalen Carter
yeah, I know.
about where that'll lead you, man. It's
And
just, you know, I
who
get
was
it.
the kid from the Raiders too? He ended up in a bad car crash.
Oh man, the receiver.
Yep. And I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
And
that's
should
what
tell you
happens
something,
when
too.
that's what happens when you throw your career away and you get locked up in prison. People
Yeah.
forget your name. Man.
Yeah. So man, yeah, slow down, bro. Slow down on these roadways. And there's still no updates, man, on the Shador Sanders John Doe case.
Oh, okay, but you've been on it.
Oh,
All
I've
right,
been on
okay.
it, man. Yeah, they did.
Don't
they
settle.
They did the discovery, and they haven't said whether or not the NFL owners have come up with the information. So apparently they're moving forward with discovery, though.
Okay.
Because they didn't say that, you know, they halted discovery or anything. So apparently that was on May 19th.
Okay.
So this is exactly 1 month later. We are 1 month later. And so apparently they moving forward with discovery. So again, Everybody Has One podcast is staying on top of that.
All right.
And we will continue to keep you apprised of
one
everything.
last thing before we get out the door. Friend and official outfitter of the program, G Mason,
Yes,
aka Reggie Pennington, is having another pop-up this Sunday at the D Spot.
Okay, let's go.
That is 17625 West McNichol.
Yes, sir.
6 Mile for my Detroit people. Again, that's 17625.
McNichol is for my slow people.
Yep. Right, exactly. And that's Sunday, June 22nd. I'm sorry, my mama's birthday. It'll be from 1 to 6. And G said he knows it's gonna be hot than a mofo out there, so he will have water and Kool-Aid for you folks.
Oh yeah.
But go on and check them out. The vendors on site will be, of course, 9654 Detroit and also the Jersey Boutique. So live DJ, food, and as long as you can stay in the heat, come on out, show my man some love.
Yes, indeed, man. On that note, man, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all again for tuning in, man. And we will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. or as close as we can get to
CPT time.
Everybody Has One podcast. Peace.
Yeah, he actually just sent me that shit.